Everybody, welcome to the Raw Cave Show. I'm Zach, and this is Darren Becket. Everybody, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Through the screen. I love technology. For everybody out there, I want to introduce you guys to Darren. He is a friend that I've grown to be, just realize how amazing this guy is over the past year. We met through a mutual friend, and in Australia, we call people legends. So he's an absolute legend, someone in the health and wellness industry. As I like to call him, a mind, body, spirit mechanic, and somebody who isn't just a coach or a therapist or like a healer or whatever. He's someone who's like really practical, really based in truth, and he's just like totally walking his talk and helping so many people. And you're having a great time along the way. I think it's awesome. And you're another dude just like me out there going for it. And your knowledge and understanding on like human behavior and all these modalities that you've studied is freaking exciting, man. And I'm pumped to pick your brains a little bit as to, we're going to talk about health, wellness, fitness, the world today, how to live a life that's worth living. So everybody, this is Darren.
Thanks, Zach. Hello, everyone. I appreciate you having me on your podcast in the Raw Cave. Although I live in Los Angeles, California, my spirit is with you on it's Manly, right?
That's it, East Coast.
Yeah, East Coast of Australia. I don't have an accent, but to you guys, I have an accent, so I feel special today.
That's it. Special guest. Man, I love
it. Yeah, legendary, apparently.
That's it.
I turn 28 next week, so legendary is like quite a, I gotta maybe double that number before I get up there, but I appreciate the accolades.
Zeros behind you.
Yeah.
Level, 28.0. It's not 2.0 anymore. It's 28.0. I just turned 27 the other week. So
that's it, man. That's it. The upper 20s club.
Leveling up. That's it.
It's the time of we got a lot of energy, a lot of willpower to go out and change our stories and live our lives based on what we want to engage with, what's going to be fun for us, what's going to be fairly easy for us. I think we have an opportunity that other generations didn't get, and we're here to capitalize on that. And that's certainly what my life and what my work is all about.
Yeah. Nice, man. Yeah. You're just taking life by the balls, as we say, or by the horns.
Going
for it. It's really cool.
I don't know if I'd use that same innuendo, but
you really are though, man. Like 28, like killing, like really, really deep down the rabbit hole of health and wellness. And anyway, let's just get straight into this, dude. So tell me a little bit about your story. How did you end up being this mind, body, spirit mechanic? Because you're a coach, you're a therapist, you're a holistic package to people. And how did you come to be here today?
Yeah, thanks. Great question. I think, if we look at Olympic athletes, we look at Olympic sprinters, you notice one kind of commonality, which is they all started running at a really young age, right? If you ask their parents, they'd probably say, Johnny was, driving with his knees and always sprinting up and down the stairs, whatever it may be. And in my case, it was generally about making peace. I had this weird knack as a kid where my sensors, my antenna for aggravation, tension, dispute, or at least dispute in maybe unhealthy terms or unhealthy ways. It was just off. It jarred me a lot. So I grew up in a really beautiful town, Torrance, Redondo, California, right next to Los Angeles International Airport. Was at the beach, during the summers, played year-round baseball, was very athletic, was a Boy Scout, was heavily into the community volunteering stuff. We did our due diligence as a family and did the church thing on Sundays. So it was very, from the outside, very, very, I'd say rich life, both in the family sense and just where we grew up. However, because of the sensitivity to my world, I started to develop kind of a framework for how I wanted to grow up. You know, I like that. I don't like that. I don't like how that feels. I do like how that feels. It's very feeling based, and it was very misunderstood. Both I misunderstood myself, my family misunderstood me, teachers misunderstood my ability to have empathy with myself and the world around me. And so I grew up, as I said, being very athletic, but more importantly, as my athletic career took off, I played baseball all the way until halfway through my college career at Pepperdine in Malibu. And that was that there was this aspect of teamwork. I had to work with other people. We had to solve problems. We had to solve internal battles when we were, you know, had our backs up against the wall. I was a pitcher. So there was a lot of like work through this mental process, right? Mm. And I was also at times, I mean, most teenagers, I know that we've shared stories before where when we were younger, we maybe were challenged with depression, weight gain. I know that you and I have shared a love for playing video games when we were younger, when we were maybe lonely, like, I don't want to socialize, I'll just play video games. And as I started to come out of that, I got heavily into the body. So after I stopped playing baseball, I was kind of a bodybuilder. And more importantly, I was helping Olympic athletes. I was helping other baseball players. I was helping people in the athletic community to get stronger, be more efficient with their batting swing, or, you know, if it's, you know, you're sprinting, you have to beat someone by half a second. What's going to get you to that half a second? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I had this next kind of moment of realization, which was coaching. When I was coaching these individuals, it was really less about the plan. I mean, the plan is important, right? You know, if you're going to do a leg day, you got to have a plan. You got to do your stretches. You got to figure out, okay, I'm going to do this exercise and that. You're loading weight, there's tension, leverage, whatever. But there's a whole mental process you have to go through. And that mental process is you actually have to change who you think you are. If you show up and you want to get bigger, you know, or you want to lose weight, the person you become is actually someone that will change your entire friend group. It'll change your career. It'll change how you look at relationships, mostly because you're changing yourself. And there's a really key aspect that I learned when I was at Pepperdine. I got my degree in conflict mediation. And the idea is, if you want to change someone else's point of view, you can't do it from the mind. The mind has a really hard time changing the mind. Mm-hmm. So in order for us to change our story or our how we perceive the world, I noticed that we had to change the environment. So either I had to change where I was living, the athlete had to change, you know, the style in which they did their workout. Maybe we had to go to the beach because the beach stimulated a different type of training, a different personality, a different kind of perspective. And so from there, my training really started to just unfold. And that was just personal training. I had a background in conflict mediation and personal training. That's it. And so at this point, I started to go, okay, what modalities, what tools do I need to help someone navigate this story change? And that's a can of worms because there's thousands of modalities that you can learn. But of course, as you know, we gravitate usually towards the ones that we most align with. We're kind of magnetized. And for me, those modalities were massage therapy, neurolinguistic programming, Western philosophies, Eastern philosophies, Chinese medicine, Taoism, Zen Buddhism. I kind of studied a hodgepodge of a lot of different stuff. And the important part was I never had a perspective where one path was going to be the truth. And I think that was important because as I helped my clients, I also recognized that my ability to build rapport with them was more important than anything else. So if my sprinter was Mormon, I'm not going to blab about how I need to change his philosophies on Mormonism. I'm going to engage with him on what's going to be comfortable, and we're going to make healthy changes because the goal isn't change his religion. The goal is get him faster. But when you're dealing with someone who has relationship issues and they want to lose weight, the same theory applies, except for now we have to find what's going to be comforting while also hitting our edge, right? For guys, it's a lot easier to go into the gym and pick up a few weights that we know we can't really handle and then just try and lift them. It's actually quite a show. But for the majority of people who aren't meatheads like us, there's a sense of fear. There's a sense of worry. I can't lift the weight, or I don't know how to lift the weight, or I'm not even worthy to be in the gym. I look around and there's 1,000 other people doing this heavy lifting grunt thing, and I don't even know where to start. And I just feel minuscule, right? And so there's my next point, this difference between making someone feel less than to help them, or helping someone by helping to uncover their strengths. And I think that's where my own personal path comes in too, because there's no way that you and I could be coaches if we weren't coached ourselves, right? We have to remember who we are. We have to remember the power that we hold. We have to remember our capabilities. And it's not really anyone else's job. So we have these coaches, we have people that show up, our parents who maybe are into health and wellness like you and I. We've had maybe a baseball coach that has helped us, or I've had spiritual coaches, I've had athletic coaches, I've had everything. Yeah. Mental coaches, whatever. And it's our ability to discern what's going to be good for us and what's maybe needs to be tossed to the side. And then to challenge ourselves to be out of our comfort zone in safe spaces. And so I've kind of developed this technique that allows people to be comfortable within the container of changing my story, while also doing new things but not feeling overwhelmed. And I think that that's a big problem in the coaching world, is we have a lot of I see all this stuff that you need to change in your life, and I'm just going to tell you everything that's wrong with you so that you can give me a paycheck, and then I can go do my coaching thing and you feel less than for the rest of your life. And I think that that's I know it sounds kind of stark, but there's a lot of that in the world. Just go on YouTube and type in life coach. And I think it's time to just start dispelling it so that people can take away something from the video, take away something from your coaching. And for the most part, it has nothing to do with the information that we're presenting, and everything to do with who you are, who you're attracted to, who's attracted to you, and what can you offer people. You know, I think something that I've always enjoyed about your videos, Zach, is that you're extremely enthusiastic, and there's no, this is the truth and it's my way, but, you know, or else take a hike. It's like, look, I'm just having fun making smoothies and telling people awesome shit about how to live their life. You take it or leave it. I'm going to keep doing it. And I think that that's important. That's needed, because it's less about information and more about inspiration and community. And that's kind of what brings me to my formula, you know, for health and wellness or clarity or whatever it is, whatever problem you're having in your life, this formula will help you. And the formula is E equals F. Enlightenment equals freedom. Okay. So think about that for a second. Enlightenment for so many people is so many different things. And it's boiled down to freedom. Your ability to pivot at any given moment and do something completely based on what feels good and easy and fun and playful and joyous to you is what is going to get you to that point where you feel like you're enlightened. Because I got news for everyone who's watching this. Enlightenment is not a going to process. It's a subtraction process. You are literally deleting the things that are not you. And what's left is, I still have to pay my bills. I still have to wash my car. I still got to do laundry. Still got to, you know, do my work, my career. I still got to type that email. But I do it with a sense of consciousness, knowing that if I just look to the left, there's a plant that's staring at me, and it happens to be blossoming, or the sun happens to be out, and I glimpse just a little crack of it through a tree, and it makes me smile. I think those are the things that we're seeing, but we're not really paying attention to how much magic is in those moments. And that's ultimately what I help people do. I just help them uncover the magic that's already in their life. It's not like I'm adding anything. I'm not adding a new spice that they don't already have. I'm just showing what's already there. And it can be a very uncomfortable process, because often when we look at the good things, we often first see what we don't like about ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what coaching for me is. It's just about helping people look at themselves in really healthy ways. You know, how many times, I mean, it's really, really simple. We have to ask ourselves better questions, not give ourselves answers to everything. So you could ask the question, you know, like, how come I'm not the weight that I want to be at? How come I don't look the way that I want to be? It's like, whoa, what's your friend group like? You know, who do you hang out with? What do you eat? I mean, these are really simple questions, but the second we ask them, a whole flood of other things come in. Like, oh my God, what do you mean? I love my friends. They're great, except for they say bad things about me all the time. I love them. Yeah, I eat healthy. I eat vegetables, but oh wait, yeah, I eat out every night, and I've never cooked a meal for myself ever. Wait, so it's like, it's jarring, right? If I told someone who was overweight, just eat more fruits and veggies, they'd look at me like I'm crazy. It's like, of course I know that eating fruits and veggies is going to help me. It's not the issue. The issue is I couldn't even stare at myself long enough to eat the fruits and veggies. So this process can be difficult, and it can also be very easy. And so this formula, enlightenment equals freedom, is something that pops up in my mind every time I'm confronted with the same problem. Like, I find, you know, that when I'm in traffic, and we've had this conversation, I have two options. I can either loathe myself for being in traffic and hate my life and be depressed and feel hopeless and lost, or I can engage with what's around me. Hey, there's a person that picked their booger over there. That's funny. Or, hey, there's someone who's getting ready to go to work. Oh man, yeah, you know, I hope they have a wonderful day. Or, oh, there's two people that got in an accident. You know, I hope that they find peace. Or, oh my God, the sun is rising. It's 6 a.m. and everyone's on the rush hour to traffic, and I'm the only one looking at the sunrise. Great, I'll look at it for everyone else. So it's a little bit of this sense of interpersonal meets extrovert. And I don't want to get too wrapped into too many deep topics, other than this formula. It can be helpful in business. It can be helpful in relationships. It can be helpful with self-doubt. And ultimately the goal is to bring you back to a state in which you feel like yourself. And we call this, or I call this, return to clear. Like, I'm returning to the state in which I'm just me. I'm not the clothes of everyone else that I've picked up along the way. I'm not my ancestry. I'm not my family drama. I'm not my business problems. I'm just Darren, living a healthy life and having fun. But when I'm in those positions of challenge, I have to move through them. But I want to move through them with a sense of play. So if we're at the business meeting, or you're going to have a business meeting, it's like, who do you want to show up as? Do you want to show up as the angry hyena that's laughing and not really paying attention? Do you want to show up as the big grizzly bear? Or do you want to show up as the fish that's like helpless and just floating on the floor? Or do you want to show up as the lion, the one who's like, yeah, I'm present, but I'm able to communicate clearly? So there's also, if you notice, there's a sense of using nature. So enlightenment equals freedom, and nature is your way of kind of getting into your zone. I feel like for those of us who have a chance to get outside more, it's up to us to help bring people into that space. And I know it's something that you're doing as well.
Absolutely, man. Oh, that's great. And so you covered so much cool stuff there. That was
yeah.
Like,
questions.
downloading.
Yeah,
it's a great formula, and yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And what I'm all about is really helping people get out of their own way. And it's those things in our mind, all the things in our environment, the problems, the dramas, the gossip, the things that we think are problems, but they're really not. They're really not problems. You know what I mean? It's just like,
well, we have to ask ourselves why they show up, right? I think there's a lot of don't do that. Don't be dramatic. Don't be sad. Don't, you know, and we want people to show their emotions. We want them to you know, a good teacher of mine once says quite a few times, you know, you can know when to help someone based on how they act. So if someone's really nervous and they feel like, you know, when kids have to go to the bathroom and they look down and they cross their you know, like, oh, I gotta go pee. You know, we call that's a kinesthetic awareness. They're looking down. They're completely engaged with their body, and so they're in their body. So someone who's in a panic is actually in a much better state to change their story than someone who is completely numb to their situation. So we find that, you know, if there's drama, let's move it, let's alchemize it, use it for energy. When there's someone who's just kind of going through the motions, those are the people who need the most help, because it's like, I'm lost. I don't even know where to go. And I really like that idea that you said of, it's like getting out of our own way. And it's exactly what I was saying. And I had this conversation with a client earlier. When we are trying to help a situation, or we're trying to engage with something that we feel is awkward, uneasy, or just doesn't feel like us, we have to first think about how we're going to affect ourselves as we do it. There's there's the old CPR thing. If someone is being electrocuted from, you know, a down power line, you don't go help them without making sure that you're safe first. Mm-hmm. And so when we're helping people and we're helping them to get out of their own way, we have to be very, very responsible about the words that we use. We have to be extremely responsible about our actions with our hands. Where do we touch people? How do we touch them? How do we feel about touching people? Because when it happens, if it feels just as jarring, and I'm saying I love you, or I'm saying I'm here to help you while I'm doing the jarring thing, you've done more damage. So there's a sense of responsibility as a coach and a therapist. And I think that as I move through this world and talk with so many wonderful people like yourself, it's important for me to go, okay, what's their story and how are you helping people? Because it'll really help me clue into what is going to be the best tool, what's going to be the best culture, what's going to be the best wording. And so I spend a lot of time on thinking about these things and obviously processing them like you do.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's a big aspect.
I think as a coach as well, I've found that as, you know, you're having to help so many people, or there's so many people that are coming to you, or these people that are just really wanting a change, and having to adapt and because you've studied so many different modalities, have you found that sometimes you've lost yourself in connecting with someone? Like, how do you keep your strength when you're a coach? How do you stay really, I guess, healthy and present and like look after yourself so that you're not getting drawn into someone else's problems and their drama?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's huge. And I would say that my answer is really, it's a process. You can't until you are actually experiencing it. And then you decide. It's like a pivot moment, right? So once again, going back to our mind can't change the mind, I could say to myself, Darren, you're going to coach this person this way, but then you show up and then they say something and the energy turns and now you're saying things that you didn't even want to say. So really it's the process of keeping clarity in here and in here. Yeah. is about just being observant of my world. And I think that's where meditation becomes a really good tool. So when I'm helping people to learn how to meditate, it's less about you have to be silent, and it's less about you have to do something. It's more like, can you just observe your own process of download? Can you observe your process of processing every, person that you talk to? And what we find is that when we get good at this process, there's no need to talk about drama. There's no need to bring up conversations just to talk. It's like they have this. There's this old. Someone was studying tribes, and they noticed that the women had this thing called like when they would come back from foresting for berries and such, they had to talk about it to the men, and the men would be like, "Oh yeah, we have to listen to them. We have to." And it's like this process of letting women, I guess, to let women to like talk about everything that they're doing, and men have this drive less. I think it's balanced, but there's this aspect. But more importantly, when we meditate, that process happens. We don't have this need to tell everyone or feel validated. Like, the kid who comes home and he's like, "Dad, Mom, I got the star." And it's like, "Oh, great. What'd you get the star for?" It's like, "Oh, I was a good student today." It's like, wait, you got a reward for being normal. That's not like, that's a bad reward system, because now you're telling someone that in order to be good, they have to get a reward. Right. So when we're, it's a mess, right?
Yeah.
So when we're coaching, it's like, in order to hold our own vibration the clearest, we have to see these aspects of where they're going, and are they pivoting, and how are we going to help them pivot. And so for me, staying balanced and clear is doing the same thing. I practice these things every single day. I know you had a post a few days ago, like, what is your daily routine, right?
Oh,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and patience too. Yeah, I mean, you asked all these great questions. And so for me, I don't get a chance to have a set schedule in the morning like I would like to. Sometimes I get up and I'm like, crap, I got to get on the freeway because I got to get to this client by the next 30 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so, and for a lot of people, that's life. You know, like, tell a heavy executive at, you know, Warner Brothers, like, hey, I think you should spend the first 2 hours of your day just, like, you know, really thinking about your process and get a good weight training in. And he's like, dude, I got like 15 meetings in the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the same formula. Enlightenment equals freedom. So if I can think about every time I open a door, right? Think of something that has habitual patterns to it. Open a door. Every time I check my phone, which is like thousands of times a day, right?
Right.
I have to say, Darren, I love you. Or I say, return to clear 9 times, right? So it's going to force me to find a clean transition between one activity and the next. And I think this is really helpful for people because, and it's helpful for myself, because when I'm running from client to client and I've got 50 things running through my head, I don't have time to sit down and get silent and meditate traditionally. But my meditation becomes, oh, I'm driving through Santa Monica and there's a beautiful garden over there. And that garden reminds me of being still and meditating at, like, you know, this beautiful spot in Hawaii. Great. What I've just done is I've layered my nervous system to think and believe that it's in Hawaii while I'm driving in traffic. So I'm actually getting the effect of meditation while in motion. And this idea of moving meditation isn't new either. The Chinese were really good at it, and they actually made a science out of walking. They were like, you have to learn how to walk really well. And in our fast-paced
meditations and things as well.
Say it again.
There are open eye meditations as well.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, there's so many. You could pick any culture: Native American, Hindu, and art. You know, I'm sure there's a culture from Antarctica thousands of years ago. Who knows? You know, the point is they all come to the same precipice, which is your breath is what allows you to navigate your parasympathetic nervous system. So when I was in massage school and when I was learning cranial work, which is like a mild osteopathic adjustment in the occiput and neck muscles, we have this idea that you're actually not doing anything. Your goal is to retract yourself from the therapy. And so we retract, and you get to this point where everything happens. You can feel the whole system moving. And at that point, the parasympathetic nervous system is engaged, and the vagus nerve, right? So the vagus nerve doesn't turn on unless you're out of fight or flight. So if my goal is just to get out of fight or flight, and I can do it by snapping my fingers or taking a big breath, and then when I have time to connect with myself on deeper levels, I'll take a Kundalini class, I'll take a Tai Chi class, I'll surf, I'll do these other activities to keep my mind focused on the educational portion. But when I'm actually in the groove of doing my work and helping people, I don't have time to think about those things. Now, I'm also blessed to teach people these things while I'm doing it. So there's a constant reminder for me. Absolutely. However, my goal is to get people to do this on their own. So during our sessions, I ask a lot of questions like, hey, you're doing this hand thing where you like push your hand down. Like, what does it feel like in your body? And you tell me how to do the action. And then they're like, okay, so I'm going to take my right hand up and I'm going to spread my feet out. I'm going to feel the base of the ground. So it's like, okay, I'm actually having to tell myself I'm anchoring this into my body. It's the same as if you were like memorizing anything for school. You know, you'd have to like jot it down like 15 lines at a time. You know, if you had to memorize. Yeah, exactly. I hated that process, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to the body, it's the same thing. So if we can anchor ourselves more and more, and voice is a big part of that. You know, if we speak something like, I love you, Darren. If I just say that silently, it doesn't have the same effect. And what we find is that people are really good at saying it internally, but the second you say, make them say it with their mouth, they go like, or it looks like they've been gagged. So yeah, it's this whole process of uncovering, as I call, polishing the diamond. It's not really about like, I know there's this idea that you're like sculpting a new statue, which, you know, certainly can be used, but I think more so it's a diamond. You're a diamond and you're uncovering the diamond that already is. You don't have to, like, people want to know all the information. It's great. You go read some books, like you have fun doing that, but come back to me when you want to learn something, because you're going to have to apply what you learned in the books. And if there's nothing there to help you build a container to apply it, then it's not going anywhere. So yeah, this is the valuable part of coaching, is not just inspiration and information, but accountability, right? You hold each other accountable.
Absolutely. Oh, I've covered so much stuff. I want to ask you, what are you, because you studied so many different like modalities, what are the top 3 modalities that you find are the most useful in today's world?
Yeah, sure. So actually to describe the 3, well, I mean, there's a lot of modalities that I use quite frequently. Cranial work is definitely my go-to, get someone's nervous system calm, hand healing modality. I do a lot of Qigong with my clients. I'm not a huge Hindu yoga fan. Not that I don't do yoga. I do a lot of vinyasa, but I'm not super masterful in like all the forms. And most of that is because I find that the Western culture needs to learn how to stand on their feet more than just be on the ground. Although I think being on the ground is wonderful. And also for me, Qigong is like, you're not always barefoot. You're in the sand, you're wearing shoes, you're mimicking daily life, and then you're engaging breathing. It's more like Qi Gong means breathing exercises. Like Qi is just breath, right? So there's an intimate focus on how are you breathing. And I think in yoga, although many great teachers do use breath, and especially in Kundalini yoga, I find that Qigong helps me the most.
Cool.
But what I want to get at, and this is probably the most important part of any modality I've ever learned, and it's a combination of all of them, which is this idea of a triangle, right? The triangle is the strongest shape that we know of. It holds pressure the best. Okay. So with that, there's this ancient religious kind of structure of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or whatever. Holy Spirit, I don't care. So, but you find this pyramid in every culture, Native American, whatever it is. And so the idea is, and I'll give you this simple Western version, you're either worried about the future, angry about the past, or doubtful about your present moment. Okay. So the opposite of that, okay, the opposite of worry is unity. If I'm worried about the future, unity solves that. If I feel like I'm doing this with other people and I feel like there's communion and I feel like I'm supported, then I'm never worried, because I know that people have my back and I have my own back, and the earth has my back, right? The universe has my back. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is fear, okay? And sorry, anger. Fear is also about worry. So anger is about the past, okay? What soothes our past? Love. When we heal things, it's because we love. It's like this energy that we feel. We feel not just unifying compassion, but we feel this like fire energy, right? Which is the opposite of fear. Anger. Anger is very fiery. So when we're feeling anger, all you have to do is be in the emotion of love. And on over here, the last one, which is doubt. What solves doubt over the present moment is wisdom. Can you remember that you're wise enough to have the courage to get through your issues or your challenges, or what's good for you, right? Like, oh, like, you know, we're going to go play over there. I don't want to do that. I want to go do this work. No, but my wisdom is telling me that play is the right thing right now. I've been working too hard. Okay. So wisdom is about the mind. Anger is about the heart. And unity is about spirit consciousness. It's the chi. It's like we're all connected by this ether. We don't, you know, it's like the mother who knows when their baby needs milk, or, you know, the person who's like, oh my God, dude, like I was just thinking of you and you called. It's like, that's connection. That's unity. So whatever the modality that you have that you're using, it's more about what are you comfortable with. And so people who have studied yoga their entire lives or found yoga and it's like the thing that changed their life, I say great. But just remember that there are physics to this, and that the physics are saying it's not about the information. It's about how you alchemize these three different areas. If you can be conscious enough to go, oh, I'm angry, or I'm fearful, or I'm doubting myself, then all you have to do is switch the equation. Oh, wait, I'm worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. Great. What can I do to support not just myself, but my community? How can I have communion? I'm going to call a friend and have dinner with them. I'm going to text someone and just tell them how much I care about them and how much I appreciate them. If I'm angry, usually anger happens in the moment. We're like, right? Okay. So if the opposite of anger is love, then I'm going to want to express gentle vulnerability. Hey, you know, anger, it's like if someone's angry at me, maybe there's a reason. Maybe I didn't take out the trash for the 15th time. Great. But I still want to be loving in return. I still want to be like, hey, dude, I get it. You know, I've messed up the next 5 times. Like, you and I are roommates. I really care about our relationship. And so I'm going to go take out the trash. And guess what? I'll just do it for the next 3 days. Right. So there's this, you have an opportunity to pivot. And at that pivot moment is usually where we get into a limbo state. Like, should I or shouldn't I? And any wisdom tradition that you've ever studied, any modality, and we're kind of delving away from the fitness world. That's, you know, like we could talk about bicep curls all day, but it's these things that will really help clients. So it's these things that will really help myself, to be like, dude, you're a human, and that human is going to go through positions where it's going to be triggered. It's going to feel certain things. It's going to feel outside of its own comfort zone. And in fact, that's normal. That's how we evolve, right? The fight or flight response isn't bad. But if you look back at our history, it's a little overused. We've overstayed our stay in the adrenal glands. Wow. And so it's time to move into the spleen and the stomach, which in Chinese medicine is more of the peace organs, the alchemizing organs. You know, the stomach is changing nutrients into something your body can absorb. Amazing. And so this is where the focus in the spiritual community, a lot of people talk about the age of Aquarius, this new kind of age that we're moving into, which is about communion, being in community. And so, you know, every person has a chance who wants to be on this path of self-knowledge will be gravitated towards the modality that fits best for them. But I implore whoever that is to just continue hitting on these 3 points. Great, I'm doing my yoga practice, or I don't know, think of something crazy. If it's like a religion that only skydives, right? It's like, if it fits all 3 of those things and it's focused on unity, love, and wisdom, I say it's cool. I mean, as long as they're having fun with it and they're not hurting people.
Yeah.
You know? So,
and is that from a particular modality? Where did you learn that? That's really interesting.
So it's not from a specific modality as much as it is from a framework that is being, I don't know, I'm getting a little convoluted here. It's something that I'm developing. So it works along the,
it's your own model.
Yeah. I guess you could say that. Yeah. I mean, certainly I've had people kind of give feedback, and I've kind of taken some things from people that I've watched or learned from, but the idea is it's not mine either. It's not Darren Becket's, it's the universe's, it's free information. And so you could say that this is hermetics. There's a little bit of, and hermetics is a Western way of looking at religion, spirituality. Google it, as we were saying earlier. Maybe that was on the old recording. If you don't know of any of these things, just Google them. You'll find out very quickly. But as long as you come back to the triangle and don't go too deep, you'll be good. Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. So how can people get in contact with you? Like, what's the best way someone can reach out and get in touch?
Yeah, great. I own a phone. I have an email. There's Skype. There's all these things. But what I'd say is that if you're interested in my work, or you're interested in just having a chat and learning more about yourself, or learning more about me and my process, you can go to my website, darrenbecket.com. You can email me from there, or it's really easy. My email is darrenbecket@me.com. So I'm me.
Perfect.
And yeah, that's the easiest way.
Nice, man. I have a few more questions, then we'll wrap it up.
Please.
Yeah, this is awesome. So let's okay, living in LA, living in Sydney, it's pretty go. For people out there who are looking to maybe calm their system down a little bit, they're stressed, they're worried, they're overwhelmed, they're overweight, like they're wanting to start a health change, but they're stuck on the couch, or they're stuck into old habits. Like, this is the typical kind of client that I see, right? It's like, how does someone get out of that situation and start creating a healthy lifestyle? Because diets don't work, as we know. How do you create a healthy lifestyle? Like, what are your few tips on someone starting this journey for the first time? And what do they have to consider? Nutrition wise, fitness wise, maybe mindset, like what are a few things that someone should be aware of when they start this journey?
Yeah. So the first thing I'd say is forgive yourself. I think that's, like that's a big one. Yeah, right. Boom, drop the bomb, drop the microphone.
What does that mean? Explain that.
Yeah. I'll explain it. So when we're asking questions about what we want to change, or if we even want to change, we have to find the courage to do it ourselves. No one can walk you through the door. You have to literally walk through it yourself. With that said, the hardest thing, the biggest obstacle that gets in people's way of just going to do that thing is fear, right? Fear over whatever it may be, right? So fear is where did we just say fear was? If I'm fearful of something, where am I projecting?
Love. Is it the opposite of love? And then
No.
The bottom right, bottom right.
Yeah, bottom right, bottom left. No, just think about it this way, man. Fear is in the future. I'm fearful of something. So the opposite of fear is unity, right? So you have to forgive yourself for even asking the question, I want to change. Because the nervous system is freaking out, right? You can't even go to the store to buy the diet stuff. You can't even cook the meal. You can't even ask that person on that date. You can't ask that you want that raise unless you forgive yourself for even wanting to do it. Okay? So that's the first step.
All right, mind blown. Mind blown. I like
Second step is,
I love this. I just want to interrupt. So, because the how to do this stuff is really simple. It is. For a walk, you just eat healthier food, but it's that mindset of going, okay, I'm going to make this decision. It's like,
Yeah. So you're doing that thing with yourself, right? So it's like, I call this the feedback loop, right? So I'm looking at myself and I'm feedbacking to myself like a mirror, or I'm looking at someone else who's either talking to me about my change or helping me to engage with the change, right? Yeah. So it's this communion. Even if you're alone, you're still in communion with yourself. You're in a mirror, this feedback loop. So you have to look at yourself and go, hey, do you really want this? And if so, are you even ready to receive it? If it showed up at the front door, what would you do with it? If Tony Robbins or if you or I showed up at your front door, would you even want to change? If I said, hey, get your slippers on or your runners, we're going to go on a little jog. I'm going to teach you how to be fit. In 30 days, you'll be good as golden. It's like, will that person even do it? Someone wanted me, they sent me a picture of a guy with like an 8-pack abs and said, how long until I get here? And my response was, whenever you decide that you want to be that. I mean, do you really want to be the guy who like, I mean, if you do, great, here's the workout, you know, and the workout's hard. Like, it's like three months of like grueling exercise and like 1,500 calories. Like, that doesn't sound fun to me. But if that's your goal, here's how to do it. So yeah, the second step after forgiving yourself is taking the step forward. So reach out. I mean, we live in the age of wellness, and it's not hard to find something. You could live in Boise, Idaho, and you can find a yoga studio. You can find a healthy group. You know, you've got groups like Isogenics, you've got Herbalife, you've got a million other really great communities that are inspiring, motivating. And so find what's going to be easy for you. You don't have to, I know people have this idea that they have to go from 0 to 100 because that's what's being fed to us, right? And you don't have to go 0 to 100. Just take the first step. You know, like, feeling better in your body is probably a better goal than I have to lose 20 pounds or I have to look a certain way. And what I would tell that same audience is, when you look at yourself in the mirror, try not to ask yourself, what would it be like to look like someone else? Ask yourself, what would it be like to know yourself better? Because if you know yourself better, you're going to have better relationships. You're going to have better business. You're going to go, oh, wait, yeah, I'm actually really good at that thing. So I'm going to build a whole career around it. Another friend of mine said in a podcast a few months ago, he said, I need you to do the thing that you don't want to do, because I've got too many accountants who are supposed to be amazing health coaches or amazing pianists, right? Like, you spent your life being an accountant and you hate numbers. Why are you doing it? It's actually hurting me that you decided that you wanted to do something you're not passionate about.
Yeah.
Right? So when we start to look at it from that perspective, the average person, I think, becomes less motivated by things that will put them down in the roller coaster. You know what I mean? It's like, if my goals actually force me into a rut, then they're bad goals. So we have to ask ourselves better questions. I hope that was helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. It's stuff that you have to experience for yourself. And as you said, I say to people, you have to be your own lifeguard. You have to go out and swim out and put your own life vest on and swim in.
Yeah. I think the other thing about the forgiveness thing is that it's easy to judge our path by where we've been or where we are. Like I can't judge my path with, say, Kelly Slater's. You know, Kelly Slater grew up in the water. I can't go out surfing and be like, man, like, I didn't get that wave. I didn't crush it. It's like, yeah, I mean, you just started surfing 2 years ago. Like, it's okay. And you're not a professional surfer either, right? So lower the standards, but then up your standards for living, right? A life worth living is a life worth living, not dying. And too many people are in the zone of, I'm already dead, so I'm just going to be numb to my world, rather than I'm living, I'm alive. If you're anxious, I say, great. Anxiety is great. It's telling you that you are ready to move forward. If you're feeling sadness, wonderful. Let's sit in it for a sec. And what we find is that when we think it's going to last forever and we stare at it, it usually goes away within a matter of seconds. Not even minutes, seconds. So I think that those are really big keys. And as far as all the information goes, there's plenty of it. Google it. Google weight loss, Google paleo diet, Google cleansing. Ask Zach Dean about, using your smoothie maker and getting the most awesome recipes, So, I mean, we're there, we're here to help. And all it takes is a little fire under your butt, and your support system is here.
It's huge,
yeah.
Man. That's huge.
Yeah.
This is great. And everyone at home, like, if I was listening to this, I'd be taking notes right now, like so many golden nuggets, right?
Yeah. Actually, if you are taking notes, please send them to me so that I can write my book.
Nice. What's your book going to be about?
It's going to be about
golden
freedom,
nuggets.
Man. The golden nuggets. Yeah, actually, it's going to be called The Sky is Falling.
Okay. Whoa.
Yeah. I mean,
Powerful.
yeah, I mean, that's what I feel like. I feel like people walk around the earth as if the sky is falling. You know, you like watch people and they're freaking out over nothing. Like, whoa, like the sky is not gonna kill you. It's okay. So yeah, it's like the sky is falling. It's a practical approach to living a life worth living. You know, there's so many self-help books, and I don't really want to repeat the broken records. I want to give people a perspective, a story in which they can engage with that has all those golden nuggets in it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So my final question, man, is
Cool.
is this. So if you were to say, okay, say the sky was literally falling, okay?
Okay.
And it was your last day on earth, and you could leave your message, your final last 30 seconds to the world. You know, a little bit of wisdom, you know, maybe just like your last little rant, you know. What would you like to share with everyone? In a quick...
This is going to sound really odd, but I hope everyone can find comedy in this. Honestly, I would probably make a really nice pot of tea and I would share it with as many people as I could. I think that, you know, I'm good at communicating. It seems to be something that I'm supposed to do more of. And everyone has their gifts. At the end of the day, the information is futile. And as the Chinese say, tea is the enlightener. Tea is a plant. If anyone doesn't know what tea is, it usually comes from a leaf. And that leaf usually grows from a plant that grows in the soil. Most tea plants do grow towards the sun. They do tend to have a green color in nature, and they soak up only the most purest information, which is sunlight. And so when we drink tea, as the Chinese would say, you're drinking the sun. You're drinking your essence. You're drinking all the information you'll ever need. Just shut up and drink it. And I think if the world were really ending, I wouldn't want to say anything. I would just want to be silent and just enjoy it. enjoy it with other people as much as I can.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
there's my
honest. I like that so much. That's so good. What tea is your favorite? What's your favorite tea?
You know, my buddy, he's an acupuncturist, and he went to Taiwan, and he ended up staying for 4 years to study tea. And so he cultivates tea from Taiwan and China. And my favorite is this black pu'er tea. And pu'er, if you don't know it, if anyone doesn't know what pu'er tea is, it's a fermented tea. So they take the black tea or the green tea, and they put it in like a cake. And then they put it in the ground for a little bit until it starts to ferment. And as soon as it's begun its fermenting process, they take it out of the ground and it dries out. And what this does is it produces more L-theanine, it produces more neuropeptides that help stimulate the nervous system and keep things calm. And this tea is fun because, one, it's extremely high quality tea. So it's no joke when you drink it, you like want to take as much time as you can because you're like, damn, this thing's expensive and it's like high quality ceremonial grade. You're like, what? Right? So there's that aspect to it. And then two, it has a little caffeine in it, and it has the L-theanine. You can look this up, Google it. L-theanine has a mild psychoactive effect, so it makes you feel like the world is kind of shifting a little bit, like very, very, very mild, nothing that would like put you in harm's way. And so when you're with other people and you're silent in drinking your tea, it can become a little bit of like a comedy. You know, everyone's kind of high on the caffeine and the L-theanine.
Excellent.
So
that's
yeah,
what we're doing next time we're catching up.
Let's do it. Yeah,
there's a tea house here in Sydney, so maybe I'll find some really good tea. And we'll
if I'm there, let's do it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Yeah.
The knowledge, the wisdom, like just the examples.
Thank you.
Your story is so inspiring. And I look forward to having you on the show very soon again in person. When I come to LA in a few months, we'll have to do it.
Or if I come to Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so,
it.
Everybody connect with him online, and I'll link everyone the details below in the video. And
Boom.
Yeah, get
Awesome.
on that tea, hey? Get on that tea and live a life worth living. I think that is so powerful. And go forth and prosper.
Yeah. That was a little off to the side. Yeah, there we go.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
All
And
right.
everybody, thank you so much for watching. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. Love and blessings, everyone. Ciao.